Thank you for seeing us. My initial question really to put forward an icebreaker to these new interviews when I get sent out by Singapore Business Review to meet good people like yourself is just to really allow you to talk and tell me a little bit about yourself, tell me a little bit about the context and the idea of setting up your business, but I'd also like to hear a little bit of biographical information about your background as well. So, Devan, please.
Simon, let me just start off by saying, I sort of discovered how lifestyle works from a very young age. First of all, I'm influenced by art. I used to study animation. I learned how to direct from really good friends. Went up to set up animation studios, and then got involved in technology because the influence of Philips International in the early days, when Philips launched their CDI technology, which is today the catalyst to what you have in Blu-ray, DVD that came before Blu-ray, and video CDs before DVDs. Philips' invention has gotten all this appliance built in this concepts of video players and video encoding. But what my background was, and I was influenced by this because Philips chose a few animation people in Asia to learn how to develop games just from an animation perspective. So we were introduced game design, solution architecture as a subject. And from there, I got involved in the technology side of art. Yes. Right? And I saw at that time, at the early age, I saw how technology actually influenced lifestyle change. Yes. And I was impressed when I saw Nokia came to the scene, introduced mobile phone, and how mobile phone blew consumers away, the everyday working class to the everyday businessman. All of them had now realized that they can have easy access to communication. Communication was essential, and lifestyle changed with communication. Then came iPhone and Steve Jobs' impression of communication. And with that changed even more. Lifestyle now gotten into social networks, became more predominantly strong social base. People were not just talking on the phone, they were playing games across networks. People were sharing images real time, videos were captured on spot. There were more activities, more intuitive activities with lifestyle change. And I think that influenced me. Becoming a chairman of a company, my single drive for this company always has been about lifestyle change and how we can impact with technology.
Business, ALIFE Automobiles, what's the background and what was the context to establishing this business?
Well, okay, we started as early as 1986, looking at designs, planning, and we brought in some very powerful innovators who was focused on engineering designs. We studied as early as then how to find, one objective, how to find a solution to engines that would reduce fuel consumption and also reduce carbon emissions, because we saw at that time there was a need. Unfortunately, although we had a proof of concept product early, we couldn't launch it because it wasn't feasible. And the reason is because, first of all, consumer and government were not very interested in green technology. Yeah. So there was no early adoption. The cost of fuel was still affordable at that time.
Yes.
So people wasn't too excited about green technology and the reason for it. But recently things have changed. Consumer now can see the impact of pollution. The worst, of course, is global warming. You can feel the impact of global warming in different countries. Then came the rise in pollution level. Now people can now sense and feel the impact of health, serious health problems in certain countries, and in fact most countries. And consumer, I think, now are ready, to embrace an idea that they have to be involved in finding a solution to this problem. Yes. So I think from our perspective, we said, I think I believe now is a good time to introduce a sustainable solution for clean air. And we decided to choose to go into this automobile industry for a reason. If you look at the dynamics and the fundamentals, every developing country, population growth is rapid, especially in Asia. There's rapid growth, and with rapid growth comes rapid change in lifestyle. But the change in lifestyle, consumer end users and consumer mainly now need mobility. Mobility becomes an essential part of lifestyle change. It's essential part, and for that, there is a growth with lifestyle change and rapid growth comes rapid growth in automobile population. The truth of the matter is, with every growth of automobile population, there's also a similar rate in growth in pollution level. And this is a really true but scary fact. Pollution level is so high in some of these countries, the government are forced to take major steps to reduce pollution levels. And some of the steps, although it's a necessary step to take, it really doesn't help consumer. In fact, it creates other related problems. Some of this ending up in inflation. ALIFE Air Automobile was initiated to bring what we found in a solution in engineering designs that will reduce fuel consumptions and also find a reduction in carbon emissions.
Why have you chosen to set up in Singapore? All the jurisdictions you could have chosen, especially given that Singapore is not seen as a developing market in the same way as most of the other Asian jurisdictions.
Well, then the simplest way to answer this question is to ask the question, what is Singapore? What's so special about Singapore? Most people do not know, cannot answer this question. There's no resource in Singapore. Some people think the resource is talent pool. It's not true. We have to import talents. We are running out of talent pool. So what is Singapore? Singapore is actually the third most influential Asian country within Asia. Very small island, small population, but yet influential in the growth of Asia. Right? Look at history. Singapore actually started thanks to the initiative of the pioneer government. Europeans became more convinced that Asia can produce cheaper but yet quality goods.
And that attracted foreign investment.
Yes. So you look at the history, people like Goh Keng Swee and Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, these are the catalysts that make Singapore what it is today. And why we choose Singapore? Well, because basically you must understand our agenda. We're talking about going into an industry like automobile industry. Now let me tell you, the automobile industry is a deep grassroots industry, which means if you look at it carefully, you see that it has grown exponentially over the years, but it also grew supporting industry, primary and secondary supporting industries. That is now the growth of this secondary and primary industries are based on the change of innovation that came along the automobile industry across many years. So this in primary secondary industry is widespread. So you cannot go into this industry and shout innovation and expect consumers to adopt. People have tried. People have come in with good ideas about solutions for clean air or alternative to fuel, and it didn't work. It didn't work because people couldn't adopt it. Consumer wasn't confident to adopt some of this technology. And without adaptation, innovation will not flourish. So, in ALIFE Air Automobile, one of our concerns was how to establish our technology and how to grow this technology into the existing industry. And our approach was very simple. We took the concept, we looked at Singapore as what it is. The Singapore government has done a fantastic job of being positioning the country as a strong exemplary to Asian communities across developing countries, developing nations. And we thought that in trying to introduce sustainable clean air solution, we have to take the similar approach. We have to start small, and grow fast, but with a strong influence. And for that reason, we chose Singapore. The other side of it is also our approach of ALIFE Automobile has to be in synergy with industry itself. We have to be able to look at the supporting industries, how to complement them. So what ALIFE Automobile's agenda was originally, we could have taken a simple route and license our technology to industry players and be principal behind those licenses. We decided that we do not want to take this route. It would not achieve the kind of passionate adoption we want to see as we want to introduce sustainable clean air solution. The key word is sustainability. You cannot expect change in consumer lifestyle without sustainability. This is very clear. So our approach was to look at setting up a company that would take the hard route. The hard route is manufacture its own engine, its own product to consumer, but with a very focused, very careful strategy to make sure we not only manufacture, we also manufacture with complementary to the existing supporting industry. And let me try and put it in a different nutshell. For example, if you buy an ALIFE automobile, you can rest assured that the components, our innovation in this automobile is engineered to complement existing components that's easily available, that's been engineered by other component experts in the industry. So if you buy an automobile or a motorcycle or a car, you can actually find easily service centers to repair components, to buy, to upgrade.
So that keeps repair costs and maintenance down for and it's an incentive for the purchaser.
Yes, exactly. And also you can easily adopt this new technology because it doesn't change drastically the industry. And that's where our strength is, I think, in ALIFE automobile. Why motorcycles? Well, we saw that most developing countries in Asia, the mass population
are on motorcycles.
Are on motorcycle because it is the most convenient mobility they can find and can afford. So at the same time, this is a huge base population. So we started with motorcycle as a primary product, the flagship product. And what we also wanted to do was introduce an alternative. Because in designing a sustainable clean air solution, we not only looked at designing an engine that will reduce fuel consumption, and also an engine that can be deployed for lesser carbon emissions, right? We looked at how to create an alternative solution that would introduce clean air. And so our engine is designed for beyond just traditional fuel.
Probably the first motorcycle that's being produced.
Well, actually, I was told. I realized, Simon, it is the only product ever that is available right now in the world that's made in Singapore. I mean,
there's some courage in that.
Yes.
There's some courage in doing. There's a lot of tremendous courage in doing something like that, and a lot of tremendous business risk.
Right.
That's to be admired. What was your rationale with the motorbike being made in this country when typically, as you quite correctly said, the mass motorcycle markets are Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam.
First
this
of
is
all,
coming out. This is coming out of Singapore with a higher cost base.
Right. Well, let me just say this. First of all, you got to understand, we are not positioned as a competitor to other motorcycle makers or brand. We do not have the luxury of the vast experience to compete with them.
The Hondas, the Kawasaki.
Yeah, you have to give credit where credit due. Ours was a strategy to introduce an alternative style of engine.
Very good.
An engine that will reduce fuel consumption, give the end user more drive power, more of a lifestyle product that can also not only give more drive power but also reduce carbon emissions. This is very critical for us. So actually, to be very candid, we didn't really design a new look for motorcycles. We, like I said before, our agenda is to support industry growth. We do not want to come in with a new product that would destroy that agenda. So what we did was we found partners across different countries that can supply us competent components. Now let me tell you about Singapore. Singapore is proud of a few things. One thing you can be proud of is it's a very, very conscientious society, meaning that in Singapore, the government don't encourage risk-taking. So when we do a product, it has to be high quality,
Of course.
safety concerns. So I think this is what Singapore branding gives us. If we make a product here, it has to qualify the highest standard of safety. This is a criteria. And because of that, I think that's our selling point to end user across the region and even the globe, that Singapore's made product would carry a safety net of high quality standards in component reliability.
Yes.
And on top of that, with our focus on innovation towards reducing carbon emission and fuel consumption, and even going further than that to introducing alternative to fuel. When I say that, I mean fossil fuel, right? You have to understand the principle behind this. In today, you have to understand there is no alternative to fuel. And the fuel that we're using in automobile is the strongest pollutant. And there's no alternative. So in order to introduce a sustainable clean air solution in the automobile industry, you need to understand the fundamentals. The fundamentals is you need to, first of all, educate the consumer to understand the need to be conscious about safety, conscious about wear and tear about your automobile. Most people do not realize this, but if you manage your tire pressure when you drive your automobile, whatever automobile it is, you reduce fuel consumption.
And your driving style as well.
Yes.
There's many factors, isn't there?
Yes, and also it's also safer if you're conscious of little things like this, and also engine regulation. So in ALIFE Air strategy, the first thing that we launched is not the motorcycle. We never really launched, and we just only launched ALIFE made, well, Singapore-made motorbike, which is called the A bike. But we launched also simultaneously ALIFE A Service Center. The A Service Center is a very unique service center. It's a service center that diagnoses the competency level of your motorcycle. Doesn't matter what motorcycle it is, doesn't matter what brand. You can come to the service center and diagnose the stand your motorbike, covering all aspects, including fuel consumption and safety. We launched that first. And with that, we hope we get both industry and mainly consumer recognition for the fact that we have strong ingenuity and know-how to recommend how they can adopt a clean air solution in buying and acquiring an exported motorcycle, and hopefully they buy an ALIFE Air motorcycle.
Able to, I mean, the product sounds magnificent, and it sounds like it has tremendous new technology.
Yes.
A new thought, a new knowledge base that's being put into it.
Right. That
must affect the cost. Is it hard to enter the big automobile market?
It's always going to be hard to compete. And to be honest, really hard. For that reason, we don't compete. We try not to. We try to complement the industry.
I understand. Yes, thank you.
So our strategy has always been this approach. If you look at, I think, to be very candid, as chairman of this company, I'm influenced with what I see and how I lead my life. If you look at my background, first and foremost, I'm a Singaporean. I grew up understanding how the government built this nation to where it is today. A nation without resource that has grown over the years to become more powerful and more secure than any other nation, influence-wise. We're still a small country. The approach of this principle of governance is very unique. We do not go and affect change in a very drastic manner like most countries do in some cases. We go and affect change by exemplary, by setting standards that we can achieve. So if you notice Singaporeans, when they live in Singapore, they pay a high price for peace, they pay a high price for safety, they pay a high price for comfort, and most important, security. But they're willing to pay this high price because it's an essential part of life today. And that's key to how we strategize our business with ALIFE Air. We don't intend to pretend that we can sell our product cheaper to consumers. We don't think that there's a possibility. We think we can bring the price to an affordable level that consumer can reach out to and adopt our technology. And this is our key principle behind corporate governance and strategy.
Tell me a little bit about your current setup in Singapore.
Well, we set up the first service center here. We started to hire more and more Singaporeans. We try to cultivate Singaporean engineers to come into this technology. We also bring in experts across the world because some of this area like manufacturing requires some of the best minds to drive it. And our approach for manufacturing in Singapore is actually well suited for the culture here. First of all, we do not have resource. So we cannot adopt less innovative driven platform for manufacturing. We have to adopt high innovative driven platform to create automation, to create robotics. So you will see as we grow our company, more and more innovation is introduced. We will have quite a few firsts to announce, besides being the first motorcycle of its kind in the world, which is going to be announced in June this year. It will feature one unique engine that you can only buy in ALIFE Air automobiles, motorcycles or cars. We also will be showcasing some new ideas behind automobile like cars for the working class, which can be affordable. Yet at the same time, it's green technology. So these are some of the things, the fundamentals that we would like to introduce.
And your service center in Singapore, whereabouts is that?
It's going to be in the heart of the automobile belt, which is right across Lanky. I don't know whether you know this area, but it's actually where all the most other automobile service centers are. Yes. And we're going to be there. We have to be there. We launched this in May. It's an expansion, so consumers can easily access this place and they can see a lot of new things coming up there. We also have in line, because we are lifestyle focused, we will be launching a lifestyle focused fashion trend that fits our culture of bike users or motorbikes. Because we are lifestyle focused, we will be launching a lifestyle focused fashion trend that fits our culture of bike users or motorbikes.
That's very interesting, because my very next question was, what are your next big plans around the corner in the next 6 months or the next 12 months? And you've already told me, a fashion line. So
yep.
How does this link in?
Well, I think if you say lifestyle, you have to be holistic.
You have to have fashion.
You have to have fashion.
One of the silos.
Yes, and you have to think along the lines of how fashion can influence people. For example, what you wear is what you feel. That principle is true. And I always believe in one thing, just to highlight. I always believe for every change, in anything you do, every change, there's always a driver or a catalyst that's responsible for the change. This is my principle. So I think what we are trying to do is perhaps become that driver or catalyst. And our change is to share, educate the end user on the need to be conscientious. This is the only world we have. If we don't look after it, we don't take responsibility for it, we lose.
And for our descendants.
Yes, we lose it for everybody, especially for future, for our kids and the descendants, like you said, right? So that's what ALIFE Air Automobile will promote.
I imagine in the next 2 or 3 years there will probably be other silos of lifestyle that you will enter as well.
Yeah.
Is that something that's crossed your mind, or are you able to discuss that?
Well, I can share with you some things, not to tease you too much.
Of course.
But to give you some hints. We will introduce in our service center, for example, a very unique platform designed with artificial intelligence using the latest in holographic projection. Imagine, if you can, being able to drive your motorcycle, whatever brand, doesn't matter, into a service center and have diagnostics done on the entire bike while you enjoy riding it in a environment.
It's a simulator.
Like a simulator.
The passion for your animation background passion is shining through.
Exactly. Thank you.
Straight.
Thank you for saying that. Also, the influence of game, right? People want to be able to have a social influence in everything they do, and this is one way. So we will have that, and it will be the first of its kind in Asia, if not the world. The other thing we will be the first of its kind in June. We will announce and launch and showcase a special engine for motorcycles. Currently, motorcycle engines are designed around the piston engine design.
Yeah.
We feel, and I feel strongly about this, and most of my partners who are highly influential in how we design our engineering strength, feel that the piston engine may not be an adequate solution if you want to reduce fuel consumption. So we're looking at so we'll introduce a new kind of engine for a motorcycle without changing the dynamics of all the rest of the motorcycle components. The engine will be unique in ALIFE Air, and it will make our made in Singapore motorcycle or motorbikes uniquely one of its kind in the world.
With your partners and your employees, you have obviously a good blend of the creatives and the engineers. Yes,
and we will always keep that in mind. We have not only, we don't look at the automobile, and to give you a bit more hint, like I said, we will introduce a fashion trend, a fashion style that is well suited to our agenda, our principle of being intuitive yet responsive and responsible. We believe in the community concept of growth. People need to come together and take ownership. For example, if you go to the beach in Singapore, we don't have much of a beach in Singapore. Actually, we have very limited beaches, beautiful places so you can go and have a picnic. But what we have is precious to us, surely. But if we can pull people together and say, let's keep this clean, just like what the government in Singapore tried to educate, and in Singapore you have this drive, right? So we want our branding, our bike strategy, our business strategy to be influential in this manner. So hence the fashion trend. The fashion trend will spell out the fact of being intuitive, having ownership, being caring, concerning about the environment, about people, and most important, the word is caring, right?
A fantastic message.
Thank you.
Devan, absolute pleasure.
Simon,
Thank you for taking the time on a Saturday.